Side to Side is, as of early December, the number 4 track on the Hot 100. It is performed by Ariana Grande and features Nicki Minaj. Ariana Grande-Butera, as is her full name, is most recently known for and Grande called back one of her previous collaborators to help her with the track Onika Mora, aka Nicki Minaj. Minaj has worked with Grande before, but her own tracks stand on their own as well, with
My Anaconda Don't, My Anaconda Don't,
and being her most commercially successful. Side to Side is the third single to be released from Grande's third studio album, Dangerous Woman, whose previously released singles are and, not surprisingly, Dangerous Woman was released on May 5th, 2016, with Side to Side not being released as a single until August 8th. The track originally charted at number 31 in the middle of September and slowly crept its way up to the top 5. Side to Side hasn't exactly had a linear climb, as its rank on the Hot 100 fluctuated heavily. In fact, this is actually the second time it's been number 4 on the charts, as it originally hit number 4 2 weeks ago, then dropped down to number 6, and made its way back up to number 4 this week. I thought the song was called Side to Side, not Up and Down. Regardless, in addition to Grande and Minaj, the writers include Martin Sandberg, aka Max Martin, Savan Koteka, Alexander Kronlund, and Ilya Salamansada. Yeah, say that 10 times fast. As far as production goes, only Martin and Ilya are given that credit. Max Martin should be a name you know if you don't already, as he has produced 20 number 1 hit songs, the most recent of which being and I can feel my face when I'm with you. The only other producer to have more number 1 hits than him is George Martin, no relation, the guy who worked with the Beatles. That girl is a no, the other ones. Hey Jude. And that's just as a producer. He has even more as a writer. Regardless, Ilya has a few hits under his belt as well, such as we got bad blood and bang, into the room. Which is another song that Grande and Minaj worked together on. Side by Side is released by Republic Records. Side to Side is said to be reggae pop, which is itself a subgenre of reggae fusion. The genre, as it sounds, combines elements of both reggae and pop music. The song is in the key of F sharp minor.
The F sharp minor scale contains the pitches F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D, and E. Its key signature has 3 sharps.
4/4 time, and is approximately 80 beats per minute. The form of the song is chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, refrain.
Basically just a different chorus.
Verse, pre-chorus, chorus, refrain. The track opens with the chorus, which includes Grande's singing, Minaj's shoutouts, and a distorted reggae-style guitar. The chorus is the shortest of the 4, as its phrase is only said once as opposed to twice. It ends with a bass drop into the first verse. The verse gives up the drum beat as well as the first version of the bass. In addition, Grande has an echo added on. The verse then gives way to the first pre-chorus, which continues the trend of echoing Grande's vocals and alters the bass, giving it a different timbre.
The character or quality of a musical sound or voice as distinct from its pitch and intensity.
The bass also has another line over it that fades in near the end of this section. We now get to what is technically the second chorus, but there's a lot more going on here than in the first one. For one thing, Grande's vocals are now layered. And as hinted at before, the phrase is repeated twice. On the second time, the full accompaniment is given, plus a soft synth and some backup vocals. In addition, the bass's rhythm is altered, and it sounds more electronic than it did before. The chorus ends with a baritone sax, bringing in the next verse. The second verse has even more echo effects added on the vocals. You got me. and the sax from before is added again on the end of the phrase. In the following phrase, a new vocal effect is added on Grande's vocals. I imagine Grande got tired of Ilya and Martin using the echo effect to the point where it was like, okay, enough already with all the echoes. Do something different for Pete's sake. I love my voice as much as any other singer, but this is getting ridiculous. Oh, don't you dare start this. Don't test me. Do that one more time and I'll sick Nicki on y'all's asses. Regardless, there is a chorus effect added here on. Deals with the devil. However, there is an echo at the end. This takes us to our second pre-chorus, which is the same as the one prior, except there is a syncopated,
a shifting of the normal accent, usually by stressing the normally unaccented beats,
sax that gradually fades in. The third chorus opens with just the lyrics, the soft synth, and some snaps. Some backup vocals then come in to lead us into the second phrase. The second phrase brings the rest of the accompanying tracks and also has Minaj doing an intro right before she enters in the following section of the song. The refrain has similar instrumentation to the first phrase of the previous chorus, but also utilizes an echo effect and some layering. The third verse is done entirely by Minaj and has a lot of alterations to the instrumental setup. The drum beat here is doubled, which is to mean that it is emphasizing the quarter note as opposed to the half note. There is also a siren added over the lyrics. Call me young Nicki Chimney. I mean, I've heard Minaj could be a force to be reckoned with, but the siren might be a bit much. At the end of the phrases, her vocals are layered and there is a bass drop. Grande has a quick background vocal here as well. At the halfway point of her verse, they drop the beat entirely. The second half adds in the bass and the beat drops continue for 2 more phrases. Minaj continues her verse until there is 1 more beat drop at the end of it. Ariana Run Pop. The final pre-chorus has Grande's vocals much more heavily layered with various effects compared to her previous ones. In addition, the bass synth that played here before now has the upper voices of it added in earlier, which makes it sound much fuller. The most obvious of these changes, though, is that the pre-chorus is held at the end to have a bigger build-up to the last chorus. The last chorus plays in its entirety with all the elements previously mentioned, but has another track of Grande's vocals where she is just improvising. The track ends with 1 more refrain from Minaj, this time having the backup vocals continuing from the chorus. If you want a Minaj, I got a tricycle. The first figure that presents itself is the Ariana. It plays only on the offbeats. This style of playing is very emblematic of reggae music, which contributes heavily to the track's classification as reggae pop. The guitar plays F sharp minor, C sharp minor, E twice, before moving on to D, E, and F sharp minor. The bass is a bit more complicated as 3 versions of it exist in the track. The first version is the one we hear in the first verse. See you standing over there with your body. It sounds like a soft electric bass and rocks from F sharp to E, hitting G sharp when traveling between the 2. It gives a nice combination of long and short notes as well. The second version is much closer to a synthesizer sound. Friends keep talking way too much. And goes F sharp D E twice, and then goes D E F sharp. Now, as said before, a higher voice fades in over it as it plays. The place to hear it in its entirety is the last pre-chorus. Friends keep talking way too much. Say I should give them up. Can't hear them no, 'cause The upper voice moves similarly to the lower voice and goes A, E, G sharp twice and ends with F sharp, B, C sharp. The last bass sounds much harder than the previous 2 and plays mostly just 16th notes. It follows a similar melodic pattern, playing an F sharp, C sharp, E figure, followed by D, E, F sharp. The next accompaniment is the It only plays during the chorus, and unlike the bass, it only exists in this one form. It does, however, repeat the form of playing its first phrase twice and then ending with a different one. The first part is a back and forth between F sharp and A that ends with an E, and the final part is just a simple D ascending to an E and ending on a short F sharp. The synth has a crescendo,
a gradual increase in loudness
effect on it, which gives it a bit more motion than a typical synth. While we're here in the chorus, we should probably talk about the They occur in the final two choruses as well as the last refrain. The first time we hear them, they just sing upwards, ascending from D to F sharp and end on an F sharp E F sharp figure. The second time we hear them, they sing their full part, which starts falling from A to F sharp, then going back up to G sharp to fall all the way to E. They then follow with their previously discussed melody. Speaking of melodies, it's about time we gave the melody her dues. In terms of range, the vocals extend an entire 2 octaves, the lowest of which is the F sharp below middle C.
This note.
Given that it is split up between both Grande and Minaj. The melody in the chorus can best be understood as a C moving up the scale. The first part goes C sharp, F sharp, A, B, and the following part goes C sharp, F sharp, A, B, C sharp. She does do slight variations on that form later in the song. The third part goes A, C sharp, A, G sharp, F sharp. With a bunch of stuff in between. As far as Grande's verses go, the basic melody is a D, F sharp, E figure, given it's a bit more complicated if you look at each individual syllable. See you standing over there with your body. That line is then followed with a descending D, C sharp, A line. And we don't gotta think about nothing. She does change it in one case though. As long as you know you got me. This takes us to the most easily drawn out melody in the pre-chorus. These friends keep talking way too much. Which goes E, F sharp, C sharp, B, A, G sharp, A, F sharp, with an altered rhythm when it's sung the second time. Say I should give you up. The ending of the pre-chorus melody ends on a high C sharp, which Grande does a trill.
A musical ornament consisting of a rapid alternation between 2 adjacent notes.
On.
Can't hear them no
The final melody we get is Minaj's line in the refrain. Minaj's singing here is much lower than Grande's, which gives a nice variety. She goes up and down singing A, B, C sharp, B, A, and hits her low note of the F sharp below middle C.
The new style with the fresh type of flow.
Her second phrase repeats the figure but starts in the middle, going C sharp, B, A, and then dropping down to that low F sharp.
Wrist icicle, ride deck bicycle.
I would go into her rapping, but that's a whole nother can of fish, and I'm getting pretty tired because
I've been here all night. I've been here all day.
No. 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 Yes.
I've been here all night.